I'm Kang Mi-kyung, your MC today for the opening ceremony. Let us commence the opening ceremony of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network Daegu Digital Forum. This year's forum is hosted by the Daegu Metropolitan City and is sponsored by the Korean Tourism Organization. The UNESCO Creative Cities Network is composed of the cities screened and designated by the UNESCO as a city armed with outstanding creativity, which contribute to the development of human cultures in one of the 7 categories, namely literature, music, craft and folk arts, design, film, media arts, and gastronomy. The network now counts a total of 246 cities, and Daegu in November 2017 was nominated as the UNESCO City of Music. Since then, the city has endeavored to develop the culture industry through its cultural assets and creativity and has worked together with member cities for economic, social, and cultural advancement. From early last year, unfortunately, the pandemic has precluded member cities to meet in person and exchange ideas and experiences. And the forum, in this context, adopted a new format to overcome this difficulty. This year's forum is being hosted in a hybrid format to accommodate both online and offline audiences. Those who pre-registered will be able to join the forum on the Metabus platform, not to mention the networking lounge, the city tour to Daegu City, and the UNESCO special exhibition as well. Hosted under the theme of post-COVID future direction of arts and culture in digital environment, the forum will present a chance to peep into the upcoming new normal. Please enjoy with us until the very end. Diverse events will be offered after the opening ceremony, namely the bibimbap performance by Jeonju, the city of gastronomy, the digital forum, joined by the representatives from the 7 creative fields of the network, the media arts performance by Gwangju Metropolitan City, a tour to the Daegu Photo Biennale guided by our docent, and the Korean classical music concert by the Daegu Metropolitan Traditional Music Orchestra. On the second day, the workshop for UNESCO Creative Cities and the cultural tour and experience to Daegu will be presented. Please stay us until the very end. Now, it's time to begin the opening performance. The performance will be presented by the Daegu City Boys and Girls Choir. Please welcome with a big round of applause.
네, 우리 천사 같은
So these are angel-like boys and girls who will give us the presentation. So they're gonna sing a beautiful song today. The choir
네, 어서 오세요.
welcome. So, the choir today will be performing 3 songs, Thinking of My Friends, Where Wind Comes From, and finally El Capotin. Here we have the maestro.
바람이 불어오는 곳 그곳으로 가
네, 고맙습니다.
Thank you. That was from Daegu City Boys and Girls Choir. So as a UNESCO city of music, we have these kind of excellent boys and girls who will be the future leader of in this artistic community. Even though they are wearing masks, they tried their best to sing a song to the audience. I hope that we can see the end of the COVID-19 so that we can enjoy mask-free performances with a big smile on their faces. Thank you so much. So that was an excellent performance, and let me continue with our program. Now let me introduce our VIP guest. So we are joined by many distinguished guests. Please direct your attention to the screen. Please join me welcoming Vice Chairman Tae Hyun Kim of Daegu Metropolitan City Council and the members of the Culture and Welfare Committee of the city. Thank you so much for taking all your precious time to be with us. Next, we have 5 distinguished directors with us today, especially Mr. Rainer Kuhn from Manhattan, UNESCO City of Music. Thank you so much for your kind participation. Welcome. We are also joined by members of creative cities in Korea, including Director Sung Kim from Jeonju City of Gastronomy. Thank you so much for your kind participation. In addition, we are joined by the members of the Opera Forum, the forum we had before this opening session. Also, this year's forum is quite meaningful because we are in the same town called My Spiritual Town, so we will show you some of it later. Actually, you're seeing the screen of the Meta bus, the virtual cyberspace, where you can see actual city scenery. Dongdaegu Station, the train you took, and this Gappai and Donghwasa are the place where you can wish. And one of your wishes will come true if you go there. And we have many expo and exhibition spaces. And actually, this place, Exco, the Western Wing, newly opened to accommodate more events. And over there, right next to this venue, you can see the Palsan Tower, the beautiful landmarks where you can enjoy the night views of the city. And Susong Lake, you can see the dock boat. So if you go there, you can enjoy this dock boat in a beautiful scenery in the city and the park. And the bottom of the Palsan Tower, you can see some screen. This is the venue we are at right now. So if you go outside, you can enjoy the outdoor performance as well at this outdoor performing hall. So at the outdoor performing hall, some of our guests are already there. They are entering into our venue in this cyberspace. So they are with us in this cyberspace in this outdoor hall. They are arriving one after another like that. You can see our mayor and vice chairman and also Mr. Rainer Kuhn, who traveled a long distance to be with us. He's waving hands to us. So as such, we will have this kind of hybrid format where we can meet online and offline performance at the same time. And we will enjoy the forum all together. And thank you so much for being with us today. So it is time to listen to the welcoming remarks. And we have the organizer who worked day and night for the City of Music, Mayor Young-jin Kwon of the Daegu Metropolitan City Government. I'd like to invite him to the stage for his welcoming remark. Please welcome with a big round of applause.
Good morning. 예, 반갑습니다.
It is my great pleasure to meet you. I'm Mayor of the Daegu Metropolitan City, Kwon Young-jin. As a UNESCO City of Music, Daegu welcomes all the distinguished guests from the creative cities around the world. 2021 UNESCO Creative Cities Network Daegu District Forum invited many distinguished guests from all over the world. For example, from Mannheim, the city of music, Mr. Rainer Khan, and from Poland, Katowice, Mr. Tarama Kaminska, Vice Chairman is with us. Jordi Hernandez came from Spain, from the City of Arts and Media Arts, and from Germany, Tosma Kale, Marketing Director. From France, Mr. Nicolas Butcher. And we have so many other distinguished guests from Sweden, Germany, Poland, Spain, France, Italy, Hungary, Czech Republic, Mongolia, Singapore, China. So we invited so many diverse guests from many different regions, and I truly welcome all of you to here. Why don't we give a warm round of applause to them?
Thank you for coming.
Also, representing the culture of Korea, we are joined by the City Council members of Jeju and a representative from Jeonju, 통영, and Bucheon, as well as Wonju and Jinju. These are the creative cities of Korea, and they are all here today with us. Also, I was very delighted to see the conductor of the city, Julia Kovacek, and also we have Mr. Kumnan Se here with us today. And Mr. Kim Do-hyun from City Council, and Mr. Kim Tae-won and Lee Young-ye from City Council. Thank you so much for being with us. UNESCO Creative Cities Network was created to share the creativity and cultural assets with cities around the world and to create an international partnership to use the soft power of the culture and develop the cultures of the humanity as a global culture platform. Dear members of the creative cities, my city, Daegu, has in-depth culture DNAs. For the first time in Korea, we introduced piano to this region to let the people know the start of the contemporary arts and music, and we produced many artists from this region. During the time of the Korean War, Daegu performance went on continuously. One foreign press said that Daegu is the place where you can enjoy the music as well as the music of Bach despite the Korean War. So the city has so much attraction to music as such. Also, 날매 북춤, 판소리, 염제시조, these traditional Korean arts intangible cultural assets are all born in here and has been handed down by 9 artisans. And every year we held the International Opera Festival and the Forum, as well as many other music festivals for more than 10 years. This kind of cultural assets and capability were recognized by the UNESCO and finally designated in 2017 as a UNESCO City of Music. And over the last 4 years, every year, we hosted and suggested many global agenda as a UNESCO City of Music and consolidate our position as it. The COVID-19 has plagued the global community for more than 2 years, endangering and jeopardizing many people in the world. And it severed or reduced the communication between the countries, and the power of culture and music has somewhat reduced, but at the same time, we were able to realize how precious those were to the humanity. So we invited the guests from 7 creative cities field to understand what kind of issues and changes there after the COVID-19 outbreak, and how do we need to prepare for the upcoming new normal that will come after the COVID-19. We will collect our wisdoms together at this venue. My city, through this forum, will collect ideas and knowledge so that we can create a new normal tentatively, and that's why we prepared this MetaPass-based hybrid format forum. And I believe that 246 representatives from each creative city will join this forum so that we can peep into the future, what will the future holds. Going forward, as a UNESCO City of Music, my city will work to the fullest by recognizing the power of the music and culture so that we can create new convergence industries through the power of music and culture. At the same time, we will create a sustainable city with the power of music and culture. And I hope that your contribution will be critical to make it happen. Once again, I'd like to extend my gratitude to all the participants. And during your stay, I hope that you can enjoy the beauty of the city to the fullest and savor the beauty of Daegu, which can leave beautiful memories in your mind everlastingly. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mayor. That was from Mayor Kwon Young-jin of Daegu Metropolitan City, and he gave very heartwarming message to all the participants. Thank you so much. Without further ado, let me move on to the second congratulatory remark by Vice Chairman Kim Dae-yeon of Daegu Metropolitan City Council. Please come onto the stage. Please welcome with a big round of applause.
예, 여러분.
Hello everyone, I'm very pleased to meet you all. I am Vice Chairman of Daegu Metropolitan City Council. My name is Kim Dae-hyun. The City of Arts Culture right here in Daegu City. We are hosting the UNESCO Creative City Network Daegu Digital Forum. I'd like to congratulate the successful opening of the forum. Before everything, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the Mayor of Daegu City. First of all, thank you, Mayor Kwon Young-jin, and also Icheon, Jeonju, Busan, Gwangju, Dongyong, Bucheon, Wonju, Jinju. All of these cities are designated as UNESCO Creative Cities, and they are now participating today. We also have many distinguished guests: Mannheim, Antalya, Warszawa, Warsaw, Heidelberg, Paris, all dispatched their representative, and also we are joined by many participants virtually. Thank you very much. We are also so grateful that all of you have joined us despite your busy schedule. From the Daegu Metropolitan City Council, we are joined by Mr. Kim and Mr. Lee. Thank you so much for your attendance. Daegu Metropolitan City in 2017 was designated as a UNESCO City of Music, and every year we are hosting the City of UNESCO Creative City, and we host various kinds of the performance as well as workshops, etc. And this year we mark the fourth year as UNESCO City of Music, so that we can explore ways to promote the future, how the post-COVID-19 can open a new era for all of us. And that's the background of hosting the Daegu Digital Forum. Ever since COVID-19 broke out, the exchanges among countries have been either reduced or stopped or at standstill. But today we are hosting the Digital Forum. The title of this is New Normal Cultural Creative Sectors Digital Transformation. In light of that, it's very meaningful. In order to communicate with the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, we have created this site as a online site so that hybrid meeting can be hosted and people can join virtually as well as on site. And I have a high expectation for today's digital forum. We are at the corner of winter. Please take care of your health. I wish you best luck and happiness. Thank you.
네,
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Kim Dae-hyun of Daegu Metropolitan City Council for your good remark. Last but not least, another congratulatory speech is going to be given by Mr. Rainer Kern, who came from Mannheim, Germany for this teacher forum. Mr. Rainer Kern, please come onto the stage. Please welcome with a big round of applause.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello, world. Honorable Mayor Kwon, friends and fellow colleagues worldwide, our thanks go first and foremost to Mayor Kwon, his excellent team, and the wonderful city of Daegu, which has been a member of our important network as a music city for 4 years now. Mayor Kwon, you have just said it, the post-pandemic period and its transition now needs new models and other concepts. Crisis always means there is a need for change. And many, I am one of them, speak of a triple crisis: the pandemic, the climate disaster, and inequity. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. If we are to overcome this as a human race, it takes strength and wisdom, as you said, Mayor Kwon, and it takes clear and effective leadership. You have shown and demonstrated the leadership, Mayor Kwon. I have watched from afar, together with Mayor Kurz from Mannheim, with great respect how you have responded to the outbreak of the pandemic here in Daegu, in your city. That was admirable, and we are gathered here today because of your courage and determination to want and to tackle this new beginning. For that, I thank you on behalf of all present, whether here on the ground or remote from around the world. We now have to correct two major contradictions of the last pandemic month. In the biggest global crisis, the international dimension, very strangely, of cooperation has almost been lost. And the pandemic crisis has shown in a shocking way how high the value of art and culture is in our society, or rather it is amongst those in power. In many parts of the world, an entire industry is on the brink of collapse. And we've learned it's different in Daegu. Here you made another job than other leaders in the world. So we have to learn from you, and that's why it's the right place to start a new beginning. But Mayor Kwon has made it clear that we need to develop sustainable cities, recognizing that culture is the engine of future growth, for future growth. That is why we are coming together here today and tomorrow to give the starting signal for this new beginning in our network. For this, we need a lot of imagination, creativity, and the interaction of all forces. Mayor Kwon, thank you for your leadership and courage in hosting this forum. For the preparation of the post-pandemic future, I wish us all creative work, insights, ideas, and the creation of a new community. Thank you.
네, 라이너 칸.
Thank you, Mr. Rainer Korn. And he traveled a long distance from all the way from Germany to Daegu. It is my great honor to have you here. And I'd like to extend my gratitude to all the speakers. As the last part of the opening ceremony, we will have an official photo taking to commemorate this moment. Or participant, it would be appreciated if you come forward and take a picture together. Please come forward and let's take a picture together. All the guests, please come onto the stage. Everyone, please come onto the stage. After taking photo together, we will have a luncheon together. After the luncheon, we have policy forum waiting in the afternoon. So let's take a photo together. Please come onto the stage, everyone.
네, 앞쪽에서 여러분과 함께하겠습니다.
So we will join the picture together.
Appreciate it if you come forward and take a picture together. 네, 앞쪽으로 오셔서 사진 한 장 찍.
Please come forward. Let's take a photo together. Some people, you can just climb up the stairs or you can just stand in front of it. Thank you.
자, 앞쪽에 카메라를
Please face the camera.
네. 잠시만 정리를 한
So we will arrange the stage and take a photo shortly.
자, 오늘 일정은
So, like I said, with this official photo taking, the opening session will end and we will meet you again at the luncheon. After the luncheon, we'll have a policy forum. Please direct your attention to the camera.
네. Please big smile. 네. 자, 박수 한번 칠까요? 여러분.
Why don't we clap?
네. 됐나요? 손 하트.
Please make a heart with your fingers like this and look at the camera, please. Thank you.
네, 대단히 고맙습니다. 자, 이것으로 이제
So this concludes the opening ceremony of the forum. Please be guided our staff to the luncheon venue and enjoy the luncheon.
of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network led this forum, and we will soon have a luncheon. 자, 우천장에서 다시 뵙겠습니다. 우천 후 포럼이 이어집니다. 포럼에서도 여러분 함께해 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 이제 포럼 진행하도록.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us resume the forum. Please take your seat. Did you enjoy your luncheon? It is such a beautiful fall day here in the city of Daegu. I hope that you can savor this beautiful season of Daegu and make a lot of precious memories here. Let me briefly explain the procedures of the forum. The forum will be broken down into two parts, part 1 and 2. The theme of the first part is as a new normal culture and creative sector digital transformation, and the second part, key challenges for emerging technologies, will be discussed in depth. At this juncture, where many aspects of normal life formerly taken for granted is now virtually impossible, and where what once seemed impossible has become part of normal life, I wonder what kind of new normal will emerge in the field of culture and arts. Would I like to explore the answer for this together? Before we begin the forum, we're going to officially open the forum with a performance prepared by the Daegu City. Shape the World with a Light, Mr. Lee Jae-hyuk will give us a performance. In this time of COVID, we are being severed from each other, and he took the theme of alliance to overcome the COVID crisis. And the background music was composed by Mr. Lee Sang-gi, who arranged the song Arirang. The Katowice City Singers Ensemble from the Polish UNESCO City of Music and the Ensemble Dongsong of Daegu City will jointly play the song Arirang, arranged by VL Technologies. So during the break time, if you go outside at the lobby, you'll be able to see 360-degree VL contents of the performance once again. So 3D visual production, usually made by company called Audio Guide, and Audio Guide made a video clip for this, so you can satisfy all your 5 senses with this performance. Please enjoy the beautiful song Arirang and enjoy the piece of Lee Jae-hyuk. Please welcome with a big hand.
네, 멋진 공연.
That was an excellent performance. Thank you so much. So that was the opening performance for the forum. And as I said before, during the break time, you can go outside of the lobby and enjoy 360-degree version of the performance, which will satisfy all five senses of your body. So during the break time, please go outside and meet the performance once again if you wish. Thank you so much. So, like I said, we will have a part 1 and part 2 of the forum. So, followed by the performance, we will begin the forum without further ado. The first part is about the digital transformation in the field of arts and culture. In the second part of the forum, we will go into deeper topics to discuss the convergence technology and its application to arts and culture and the challenges ahead of us. So this is day 1 event, which offers a lot of different programs. And after the forum, like I said, we will enjoy more together. After the dinner, when the night comes, we will give you the media art performance as well. On the second day, we also have very rich schedule. So in this fall, please enjoy the beauty of the city and the forum together. It is time to listen to the keynote speech. Ms. Dennis Fax, Chief of Unit Communication Cities Events of UNESCO, is going to deliver her pre-recorded keynote speech. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, colleagues and friends, I am very pleased to participate in the digital forum hosted by the municipality of Daegu Metropolitan City, which focuses on city's leading role in recognizing culture and creativity as key dimensions of recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the municipality of Daegu for its kind invitation. My thanks also go to all participants who have already contributed and will contribute to enriching the forum with their expertise, thoughts and visions. This forum is devoted to our collective reflection on the process of rebuilding our societies, moving towards sustainability with a particular focus on the role of new technology and digital solutions. Therefore, I would like to share with you diverse experiences and examples from the UNESCO Creative Cities Network that highlight these aspects through the prism of culture and creativity. The UNESCO Creative Cities Network unites 246 cities from across the globe, which are committed to placing culture and creative industries at the core of their local and sustainable development plan. As cities have taken a lead role in the response to COVID-19, they have demonstrated great ingenuity and resourcefulness by devising and implementing numerous new initiatives. Culture and creativity have been positioned as important building blocks for the future of cities. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, the cultural and creative sector has fully demonstrated its essential value and provided an opportunity to shape a better for urban landscapes. To highlight creative cities' responses to the pandemic and to inspire cities worldwide, in March 2020, the UCCN Secretariat launched a global call for good practices and subsequently developed a dedicated publication featuring a wide variety of cases from over 90 cities around the world. Following this successful initiative, this year a second global call was launched with an emphasis on recovery measures with a view to developing a second dedicated publication to further the effort. Cities in all the 7 creative fields covered by the network, namely crafts and folk art, design, film, gastronomy, literature, media arts, and music, have shown their great commitment to swift actions and people-centered approaches. As a result, they have succeeded in providing culture and creativity-enabled responses to the adversities which arose during the COVID-19 pandemic. In this process, it is undeniable that new digital technology has played an important role in ensuring essential public services, notably access to and participation in educational and cultural activities, which were deeply affected by the pandemic. Furthermore, the digital sphere can provide creative insights and capacities to build smarter, more innovative cities in the post-pandemic era. Let me start with the host city of this forum. In response to the huge impact across the venue-based performative arts spectrum caused by social distancing restrictions, Daegu, a creative city of music, launched the House Concert Series initiative. Held every Wednesday from July to October 2020, the Daegu municipality supported and coordinated a series of concerts accessible through online platforms. Allowing for the safeguarding of Daegu's musical culture, engaging youth participation by spotlighting local young performing artists and providing access to cultural activities during the crisis, this project has been a resounding success in preserving the city's cultural landscape, whilst upholding the financial viability and post-pandemic recovery of small and medium-sized business in the performing arts. This broader accessibility brought by new technology and digital environment could be further explored by cities post-pandemic. Amongst cases from the network, the creative city of Sapporo, Japan, has presented a new interpretation of public space and its utilization in the digital era. During the pandemic, thanks to new technologically based innovations, a novel type of interconnected experience was provided in the city center outdoor spaces. Music, urban lights, theatrical features, and virtual reality streamed across the internet were synchronized to be displayed together. Through this technology-enabled project, the city was able to unite its inhabitants, adding a virtual dimension to the physical public space, thereby celebrating its cultural assets in an immersive manner while adhering to the COVID-19 sanitary measures. Meanwhile, Buenos Aires, Argentina, a creative city of design, launched Impulso Digital Impulse, a new on-demand professionalization platform for the culture sector. Aimed at emerging talents who wish to enter and progress through the universe of digital concert, the project seeks to provide industry-specific knowledge and training around digital development and the commercialization of products and services. In addition, the project offers advice on innovative methods for developing digital business plans, encourage the conceptualization of new technologies as tools for cultural production, and creates opportunities for sector-wide networking. This ongoing project will continue to provide the Buenos Aires cultural industry with vast potential for long-term development as the city emerges into its new phase of post-COVID-19 development. Creative cities around the world have engaged in developing a collective reflection around the theme of digital technology as a resource to build more resilient and sustainable cities, trying to analyze the role of technology from an ethical perspective. With this aim, 9 UNESCO creative cities of media art from different countries, including Austin, Braga, Shanghai, Guadalajara, Karlsruhe, Santiago de Cali, Sapporo, Košice, and York, joined forces through the City-to-City project to support their local artists, meanwhile fostering international collaboration. Artists were invited to reflect and create digital pieces highlighting the impact of human activity on the panel, the importance of arts and empathy for a more responsible use of technology, as well as how technology can support in finding solutions to global challenges. All these are essential for building better cities for better lives. During the pandemic, access to the virtual arena has allowed culture and creativity to continue thriving and bring forth culture-enabled solutions to different challenges in these trying times. Cities, and especially those that leverage culture as a strategic asset, have showcased how to adapt and use digital technologies as a creative tool to inspire, foster, and drive urban resilience and regeneration in the recovery from the pandemic. Finally, I would like to thank Daegu once again for organizing this meaningful event and encouraging creative cities around the world to concretely contribute to our reflections on a sustainable post-pandemic recovery process driven by culture and creative solutions. Thank you for your attention.
네, 여러분.
Please give a warm round of applause for her keynote speech. So we just had a keynote speech. Actually, the UNESCO Creative Cities Network's annual conference was canceled in 2020 and was held online on last July 2021. So Ms. Dennis Bex must have listened to the major issues and challenges that all creative cities in general had encountered, and she nicely summarized them in her keynote speech, I believe. Thank you. The next speech is going to be delivered by Emeritus Professor Kwang Hyun-won from the Graduate School of Culture Technology at the KAIST. The title of his presentation is Digital Transformation, Where Are We? Let me hand over the floor to the professor. Please welcome with a big hand.
Can you hear me? Okay. I thought I would be giving my presentation in English, but I just noticed that the majority of the audience in offline and as well as online just happens to be the Koreans. So for the sake of the welfare of the majority of participants, probably I will switch to Korean. Is that okay? Yeah, all right. So, okay, let's do that. I just noticed that in the booklet, there is a picture of mine, and you may misunderstand that this is not me, but in fact, that is me, right? So that photograph was taken a couple of years ago, before pandemic, and now you are looking at the real me, which is the during pandemic. So 2 years. I mean, it's a lot of changes happened. Okay. Okay, now let me just switch to Korean. Can you identify the painting? Yeah. 이것은 여러분이.
So actually, in Boston, there is a museum of arts, and the late Impressionist exhibit has this picture in it. On the opposite corner, it was the paint by Gauguin. And actually, the painter Gauguin wanted to get away from the civil society. He went to tidy. So all the paint of him is very small. And I believe this is one of the largest paints of the Gauguin. And the height of this picture is 1.3 meter long, I think. And the title of this picture is Where We Came From, Where Are We, What Are We, and Where Are We Going? This is the title of the paint, quite a symbolic paint of him. And also many people sat at the bench in front of this picture and felt themselves who I am, what I am, and where I am going. As a student, I was also sat at the bench in front of this paint, and I thought about myself, my identity, and where I need to go. And now here I am at this podium, And now I'm asking the same question. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going from this pandemic? And where we need to go after the pandemic? So these are the questions I'm going to explore in my presentation. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity to UNESCO and Daegu District Forum for inviting me. And I think I can flip the slide with this device. Actually, I'm one of the oldest participants here, and being old has two dilemmas. First, as you're getting older, you talk more and more, and as you get older, less and less people want to hear what you want to say. Those are two dilemmas that you face when you get old. But since I'm at the podium, I'm gonna own all 18 minutes allowed for me. So over the last 30 years, I studied just one field, virtual reality. And actually, not by myself, but by my students, I should say. Media arts, game. Actually, there are a lot of students who are working in the field of game, and they turns out to be quite successful. Heritage, fashion. Fashion is also a big part of the VR technology. I believe that there is a huge potential, which are not much tapped actually, and performing art. And there are many students who are doing a lot of work in performing arts, but the situation is not that good actually in this field. But to talk about the performance, the analog type performances can be combined with IT technologies in the future. And I think over the last 100 years, we tested a little bit. For example, Marinaldi tested the convergence between technology and traditional performance. But I believe that Mr. Peng Nam-jun produced Good Morning, Mr. Orwell in 1984 and showcased in 4 cities outside of Korea, including Seoul, and he did a real-time experiment, and I think this is kind of landmark prototype of the combination between IT technologies and traditional arts and culture. I was somewhat belated, but I also tested this combination. To what degree I can do the performance fueled by the power of IT technologies. Also, I connected 3 different locations for one performance and sometimes up to 5 locations at the same time, and I tested the possibilities of multiple location performances. Also, I tried this to bring the audiences in the faraway locations so that they can communicate with the actor on the stage in real time. So that was one of the experiments I did. Also, I believe that the role of audience is large. Audience is not just passive spectator. Sometimes they can actively engage in the performance, and what should be the proper role of such audiences? So I tested like this, and my experiment was covered by, thankfully, Newsweek like this. So think about this. We are at the performing stage actually in this forum. And this performance stage are composed of 3 factors: audience, stage, and performers. If you see the stage, you can see the analog aspect and digital aspect at the same time. So I believe that this is a stage, and with the digital technology, the stage can be expanded unlimitedly. You can bring the audiences in faraway places, or you can create a virtual spaces. Also, performers can be human beings or robots, or some people living far away, or even virtual human beings. And audiences also can be expanded from interactive audiences, or just passive audiences, or audiences living far away. So this kind of dynamic changes along with the technology development can expand the territory of these 3 axes. So I think we will go beyond the traditional way of doing performances in the future. And I believe that this kind of expansion is a metaverse for the staging performances in the future. So let's go back to more past days. I was wondering whether you read this novel, Snow Crash. This is fictional novel. And one quotation was that now the American industry competitive edge is over. Cars and home appliances are made outside of the US and they just import it. But still, the US has one strength in 4 areas. First, movie. Second, popular music industry. Third, microcode, which means computer programming. So as of today, it should be the application of computer science. So I was 100% agree that the US still has competitive edge in these 3 fields, but I'm not agree with the 4th competitive edge, pizza delivery. Because the writer of the Snow Crash haven't visited Korea. He should have used the coupon or local food delivery program. He should realize that we have a better pizza delivery system. But anyway, he had an insight. He read the future well because the future is all about the culture industry, IT industry, and service industry. And you can kind of see this kind of future in this novel called Snow Crash. And after 1992, I was invited to the international conference in Nagoya City in Japan. Nagoya City is the city known for traditional industries, manufacturing industries. For example, paper making industry or clothes, textile, or China, pottery making. But Nagoya people realized that we need to change to adapt ourselves to the 21st century, so they invited so many experts to hold this kind of conference. And culture technology is the term I used for this conference. So in the future, all the culture industry and culture services will be digitalized. And also, all the manufacturing industries of today will be culturalized, which means that they will be seen as a cultural industry in the future. So the culture and technology must go hand in hand to prepare ourselves for the future and think about how we can use technology for the culture or vice versa in a very systemic way. I proposed like this at this conference. The gist of my presentation was that we have primary, secondary, and tertiary industry. But now we don't need to think about that kind of categorization because everything's are combined as a one industry. And in the future, all the manufacturing industries and agriculture and service industries will be all propped by none other than cultural industry, I believe. So that was the gist of my presentation back then. And 20 years ago, 2001, one day it was quite a hot summer day, I got a call. And the person who called says that the Korean government saw the emergence of the new government and the culture industry should be the future growth engine of the Korean economy, the caller said. And he asked me to make a presentation of the culture industry or CT. A week later, the government back then announced that Korea's new growth engine will be 5: IT, BT, biotechnology, nanotechnology, environmental technology, and cultural technology. These 5 T's were announced, which was quite significant. Because before 2001, culture industry seemed as an industry that should be regulated. But after 2001, people started to see the culture industry as a growth engine for the economy and as the core element of the society. And I happened to be criticized by the scientists back then because scientists back then said that what's the relationship between science and culture, arts? We have small amount of budget and now we need to share this budget with artists. But still, the culture industries is not much supported by the government if you see the size of the budget, but still, people start to realize the role and importance of the sciences in culture industry and officially announced by the government. Later on, thanks to the government and thanks to the effort of the private players, Korean waves were created. But I don't think that this is the end of the culture changes. We need to go beyond the Korean wave. And in order to do so, we need to create a high cultural environment. Arts or somewhat difficult design fields need to be conquered to create a genuine Korean wave across the globe. So in the future, what would be the keywords in the culture industry? Neil Stephen's Snow Crash actually talked about the metaverse. Back then, the future he envisaged was the mixture of the physical world and cyber world, which was expressed as metaverse, and the main character lived in this combined world and do some ventures in it. So at the beginning of my presentation, I talked about this metaverse a little bit, and I believe that this metaverse will be our future. Roblox will be the term you're familiar with if you're American, and Geppetto will be more familiar if you live in Korea. But actually, metaverse is more than that. The fourth industrial revolution should be the framework you should have to understand the true value of metaverse. The fourth industrial revolution came after 3 rounds of the revolutions. So you might think that this is just technological change. However, this is just more than that. Because of the fourth industrial revolution, our view on world now is being changed. The first industrial revolution redefined the time. As you know, Aldous Huxley wrote a book called Time and the Machine. And Aldous Huxley, in his book, said that time, as we know, is very recent invention. James Watt, who developed the engine, and Stevens are the inventors of the time from this perspective. Aldous Huxley said that now, the time of the past was a time given by the nature. When you see the sunset and when you see the sun goes down, that was the time given by the nature. But now the time has changed because human redefined the concept of time. So this new concept of time that hasn't existed before, minutes, second, time, this kind of time concept hadn't existed before. He also added that in the past, the time of the past was natural universe, and the time of today is artificial universe's time. His talk says that the first industrial revolution redefined the time totally. The second industrial revolution, on the other hand, redefined the space, physical space. As you know, the building goes up like this to this height, and the time started to move faster and faster. For example, early 19th in Italy, this futurism painting shows how the future was envisaged by the people back then. The expansion of the spaces, not just two-dimensional expansion, but three-dimensional expansion was envisaged by the people back then, while they see the growth of second industrial revolution. So on top of X or Y-axis, they see X, Y, Z-axis to define the space. And the third industrial revolution also redefined the space and expanded the concept of space into the cyberspace. In 1980s, the Times selected a computer as the keyword of the year, and they said that now computer is part of our family members. And that new family member, brought a new space called cyberspace. Now we are seeing the appearance of the fourth industrial revolution, which will redefine the place. So we not only can live in the real space, but also in virtual space. So this redefining of the place would be explained by the hybrid revolution. Hybrid refers to the concept of the combination between the two things of very different nature. They maintain their own respective identity and create a synergy effect with a combination. Actually, the concept of hybrid was invented long ago. Hybrid between analog and digital, hardware, software, and algorithm and data, everyone easily understands the concept of hybrid. On top of that, we are seeing the hybrid between culture and technology, and between human and machine or AI, or even between real world and virtual world. So this is a new place we haven't seen before. Whether it is real world or virtual world, human beings now see, perceive, view the world not just through actual experiences in physical world, but also through the virtual experiences, for example, through media. So when we had the first industrial revolution, we resorted on the printed materials. We saw the paper, books, newspaper to understand the world. During the time of second industrial revolution, it was electric devices. For the third revolution, it was digital media. And now it is a metaverse which will allow us to see the bigger world with the new lens. So metaverse is not just the cyberspace, but is a medium that helps you to see the world from a very different perspective. We interface with a metaverse in many different ways. Facebook, Google, Samsung. There are many kinds of companies who produce a lot of devices for the interaction between you and metaverse. For example, head-mounted display or holographic display. These are some of the examples of the metaverse tools for interaction. However, I believe that the genuine metaverse can be only emerged if we have more advanced tools. So I believe that the TV will be transformed totally, because television literally means the telemachine that helps you to expand your vision. But television will transform itself into telepresence. And the TV will not be in box shape, but will be in window shape, from wall shape into even portal shape, which allows you to enter into a whole different virtual spaces. Also, the function of the television will be tantamount to that of the computers or supercomputers even. And all the communication will be multi-directional in the future, and ultimately, actually in the past, we thought that TV is just the machine for content delivery. However, TV is just peripheral devices because we turn on TV and just use our cell phone or devices. But in the future, the TV will be environmental because it will be omnipresent around you in all places. So think about it. You have TV and computer and the combination of it. How long did it take? It took 20 years to create a smart TV, which is combination of TV and computer, and maybe along with internet. So we will see another growth of the TV from smart TV to Metabus TV. All the public services, financial services, cultural platform, transactions, shoppings will be all possible in this Metaverse environment, powered by many IT technologies, including AI or 5G. I'm not sure how it will look like at the very end, but it will run on cloud platform. Cloud platform means the information cloud platform. So human beings will download or upload all the information to the cloud platform. But in case of the Metaverse platform, it is not just information cloud, but experience cloud. What is experience cloud? It means that human beings can enter into the cloud system and do all the activities, human activities within it. So that is the definition of experience cloud. So this Metaverse will be used more and more in the future, and if so, Metaverse will be more than just entertainment tool. All our daily activities will be all connected in this space. And in order to make that happen, we need to go over many technological challenges. But ultimately, what we need to understand is that Metaverse is not just content provider, but a place where we can design our lives even. This is my final slide. So from the perspective, Metaverse should be more than just media. As Marshall McLuhan said, the medium is a message, so Metaverse can be a message, and the Metaverse or the medium can be the life. And with that message, I'd like to conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for your kind listening. Thank you, Professor from KAIST. It was from Mr. Wong Kwang-yen. And actually, they say every revolution comes slowly, but this digital revolution seems like it gallops towards us. It is time to enjoy the thematic presentation from the mayors from each UNESCO creative city. The mayors are going to explain how their cities have been responded to this rapid digital transition to create a community of a greater cohesiveness. So the mayor of Adelaide UNESCO City of Music and mayor of Norrköping UNESCO City of Music will make a presentation through a video clip. So let us meet the mayors and their cities through the video clip. Please enjoy.
Dear participants of Daegu Digital Meeting, thank you for including us in your program. Norrköping is a diverse, thriving, creative city, and we are very proud to be, at least for now, the only UNESCO City of Music in the Nordics since 2017. Our lively culture scene and the variety of live venues, innovative tech and global level, and a crossover art, inclusive culture for young, and art on world-class level. There are a few examples that make Norrköping an attractive city to live in, but also to use as a platform for creative ideas or visit to be inspired. Visualization Center is not only hosting a dome and a unique exhibition area in our old industrial landscape that, like in Daegu, now turned into a hub for culture, Campus Norrköping, and innovation. There is also research and tech on the highest global level. This year, we had an open call within the creative cities for a visual arts residents to pursue a dome production. In a month, we have an open call for a music residency too, for the first time in the Nordics. This will surely lead to interesting collaborations, research, and now challenges at the Visualization Center that already win award for their recent Dawn productions. This is one example on how Norrköping strive to connect innovation and creativity or culture. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit us all hard and made us redefine the substructure for culture and creative industries. In Sweden, there has been a lot of support from the government, and our municipality have supported the local culture cluster in many ways. They have been able to keep their financial support when festivals had to cancel, or founding the organizations that could not fulfill their missions to host concerts, or we made it easier to create outdoor venues. We were reminded of the importance of culture to keep us linked together and how fundamental it is to the social sustainability. I am proud to see that Norrköping music community fought the battle in creative ways. Our local artists and the Norrköping Symphony Orchestra have showed courage and creativity in creating new ways to reach their audience during these hard times. Outdoor concerts in front of schools and senior homes. A digital scene for the symphony orchestra that will keep developing as a legacy for after, making the pandemic a way to find new ways for classical music. However, they are very happy to be open now and work to host an international Pratt Harp Festival and the Wilhelm Stenhammar International Music Competition again. This year, Norrköping also hosts a EU hybrid meeting within the Gender Equality Project GEMIS. Within the Music Cities cluster of UNESCO, Norrköping is also the chair of a budding gender equality project for the music industry. So far, Norrköping, Adelaide, Hanover, and Auckland has creative clusters for women and non-binary to write, produce, and film a music video, voicing their thoughts and sharing their favorite parts of their creative cities. We welcome Daegu to be a part of the program. The song and videos have been published on platforms like Spotify and YouTube. It has been hard times for artists all over the world during the pandemic, and sharing this development within the global network has been valuable to us. We believe that while building back better, the digital development and international relations are key to success. At the same time, we hope for the local culture and music communities to keep enjoying their artistic freedom. During the pandemic, we saw several new solutions within the local creative sector. Apps where choirs could practice safely, but together streaming showcase festival and industry speed meetings from other side of the world. During the pandemic, the municipality supported development for new ideas like Gender Equal International Showcase Festival, Future Echoes, and Crazy Pictures, biggest film production yet. Also, we have a brand new house for music production for young, and hopefully one for professionals to get to network in central Norrköping within a year. Welcome to visit us to get in touch with our focal point for music. Despite the problems in trying to monetize digital culture, we still believe in the artistic effect of it in long term, without cutting down on the live experience and our live venues as a tool for Norrköping social sustainability. Immersive digital productions will be part of our future, and Norrköping look forward to finding the path for new start within the creative industries sector after the pandemic, with all our fellow creative cities in the global network of UNESCO. Thank you and best regards to the UNESCO city of Daegu to provide the network with this important meeting.
네, 여러분 박수 한번 보내주시기.
Please give a warm round of applause from the mayor of Norrköping in Sweden. Actually, Norrköping is the home to 140,000 million people and was nominated as a UNESCO City of Music in 2017, just like Daegu. So the mayor, Maria Salembana, inaugurated last March, and she's so busy, but thankfully accepted our invitation, taking the time out of her busy schedule. Thank you so much. Now we will meet the Australian city Adelaide. This city is home to 2 million people and joined the group of UNESCO City of Music in 2015. Mayor Cindy Verisure has profound knowledge in the field of arts and culture, as she herself has built a career in these industries for long. She impressed many with her expertise in this field. She impressed many when she stressed the importance of cooperation between creative cities around the world at the 2009 Asia-Pacific Creative Cities Conference. So let's meet the Australian city together.
Welcome to you all. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains and pay my respects to elders past and present. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationship with the land. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you at this very important and timely conference today as our cities continue to adapt to the impact of COVID-19 has had globally on our arts and culture, events and tourism industries. Adelaide is one of the most livable and creative cities in the world, with artists, makers and festivals at its heart. Adelaide's designation as UNESCO City of Music in 2015 is testament to our unique and dynamic city culture and our world-class events and festivals. The COVID-19 pandemic has reminded us of the need to continually reimagine our cities, to innovate and be courageous. Our artists have done an extraordinary job responding to the evolving challenges of the pandemic, and they continue to adapt to the rapidly changing environment. Here in Adelaide, our artists have had to contend with international and state border closures, social distancing requirements, including limited venue numbers, and intermittent bans on audiences singing and dancing. Despite this, Adelaide's world-renowned festivals, the Adelaide Fringe, the Adelaide Festival, Writers' Week and Womadelaide, all took place this year with pandemic-defying success and celebrated record-breaking ticket sales. We have seen great innovation and entrepreneurship happening in Adelaide. We've managed to adapt, change and find new ways of doing things. The Adelaide Fringe is Australia's biggest open access arts festival, the largest in the Southern Hemisphere and a beloved feature of Adelaide Life. In April 2020, as COVID-19 reached our shores and performances, gigs, tours and festivals were all cancelled indefinitely, the Adelaide Fringe announced the pilot of an online digital fringe experience called Adelaide Fringe View. Artists uploaded pre-recorded performances and people bought tickets for shows that they could enjoy in their own homes. It was the first of its kind for the Adelaide Fringe, and it created job opportunities and income for both the artists and others in the broader creative technology sector at a time of crisis. Fringe continued to embrace digital technologies during its 2021 season. It adopted online streaming alongside traditional live events in venues so more people could purchase tickets without exceeding venue capacity limits, and creating an opportunity for interstate and international artists who would normally come to Adelaide for the festival to still be involved in this year's event. In addition, Fringe, alongside other festivals, including our city's new annual winter festival, Illuminate Adelaide, created extraordinary COVID-safe experiences outdoors by blending light, technology and music to activate the Adelaide Botanic Gardens and the Adelaide Parklands. This connected visitors to nature through music, light and special effects, enabling us to reimagine Adelaide and experience the city in a new light. The accelerated shift to online and digital performances necessitated by COVID-19 has also created new opportunities for creative collaborations between Australian artists and artists overseas. The City of Adelaide has supported several projects, including a global gender equality-based music project involving a number of UNESCO cities, creative cities of music, including Auckland and Hanover, and a partnership with Bailey Productions to deliver Give Them the Mic. This is a reciprocal cultural exchange between Adelaide's Ghana musicians and Auckland's Maori musicians that is providing skills development, live performance and international collaboration opportunities being delivered under the UNESCO Creative Cities banner. However, while digital technologies are enabling collaborations globally, these cannot replace the value of an in-person connection, particularly in the development of new cultural connections. Social connections is one of the key indicators of well-being on the City of Adelaide's Wellbeing Dashboard, which monitors both physical and mental health in our community. COVID-19 has shone a spotlight on the role arts and culture plays in bringing our community together to share face-to-face experiences. We know that whether we engage in arts and culture as practitioners or as part of an audience, creativity makes our lives infinitely more interesting and fulfilled. Through our engagement with artists and culture, we are better able to understand ourselves, our place in the world, and to connect with others in deep and meaningful ways. Humans crave connection and social interaction, and that cannot be achieved solely via a screen. Cities play a vital role in bringing people together for work and play, and while the increase in digital technologies has allowed us to continue to enjoy arts and culture from our homes during the pandemic, it does not replace the human experiences gained through being immersed in arts and culture with others. Digital adds to our city's offering and allows us to reach new and global audiences while recognising that in-person interaction is vital for our well-being as well as our city's recovery post-pandemic. Cities around the world have been amongst the worst impacted by the pandemic, with the loss of tourists and international students, as well as many city workers continuing to work from home. Our city's fabulous cultural offering is a key driver in bringing people back to the city. The experience you have at a gig or live performance surrounded by others and soaking up the atmosphere cannot be replaced sitting in pyjamas at home on the couch. So while we've seen great innovation and entrepreneurship in Adelaide, which brings a world of possibility, opportunity and commerciality, digital technologies can never entirely replace in-person events. Digital complements our city's dynamic city culture, creating new connections and enabling us to reach new audiences, particularly while our borders remain closed, and also to host COVID-safe events. However, sharing arts and culture with others is an intrinsic part of the human experience and vital for our well-being, and the importance of that cannot be underestimated. Thank you.
네, 여러분.
Thank you so much for the presentation. That was from the Australian city Adelaide, Mayor Sandy Batishore. She talked about the importance of the arts and culture, and she knows this topic very well as she herself experienced many in this field in person. So that was the vibrant activities of many creative cities. But what about Daegu City? It will be presented by the representatives of the Daegu City. Director Chien-ju of Daegu Art Museum will make a presentation. Director in 2017 was inaugurated as the director of the Daegu Art Museum. She attracted many prominent exhibits in and outside of Korea, and Especially since the outbreak of the pandemic early last year, she has engaged in the planning of and the preparation for the Daegu Smart Art Museum. Director, the floor is yours. Please, I'd like to invite to the stage and welcome with a big hands.
안녕하세요.
Hello everyone. I am Director Choi Eun-ju of Daegu Art Museum. Daegu is a UNESCO City of Music, and the activities is mostly related with music. But today I'm from Art Museum, and I'd like to share with you how is the digital environment carried out, and a lot of attempts are going on within the Art Museum. Let me begin my presentation. Frankly speaking, COVID-19 pandemic itself gave us impact in omnidirectional way. It influenced not only music, but art everywhere. There are no exception. We were under a heavy blow of COVID-19. How do I operate this remote control? Can you tell me? Okay, thank you. Art museum. Basically, you have to understand that people visit art museum to enjoy the art. This is how we operate art museum. However, last February, COVID-19 broke out. And for 90 days, in case of Daegu City, Daegu Art Museum was totally shut down. At the time, what can we do? We keep asking our question. When art museum closes down, what should we do? The artists were pondering upon, everyone were wondering, if the art museum closed down, then what about the artists? How can they show their projects and artwork? What should they do? A lot of changes took place. Scheduled art exhibitions were all cancelled, or it was postponed a year or 2 years or a few months. All kinds of unexpected things happen. This is like when you suffer from unexpected traffic accident, and then suddenly you see a flood of cars stopped, and then everyone suffer from the traffic chaos. The first thing that appeared in our minds at the time is that how shall we respond to the disaster? Shall the artists just sit home and do nothing? What are they thinking about? And then the first trial that we did was a new communion. We tried to come up with a new exhibition as a new communion. In Korean word, if I translate, this is forming a new solidarity. In other words, what kind of concept of solidarity shall we form was the main concept of the new communion. So in February, the pandemic broke out. In June, we started showing our artwork. After 90 days of the closing down or shutting down of the art museum, all the artists gathered together and we demonstrated our artwork. And as I expected, all the artists prepared themselves. Just like the world might end tomorrow, everyone are preparing. Because artists, who are they? They always prepare for something. They prepare for the unexpected things that might come suddenly, and in a very honest way, they wanted to express their own thinking, and in form of artwork, they tried to show that. The New Communion exhibition was attended by all Korean artwork. Let me show you what kind of work we demonstrated.
동영상 같이 보시죠.
So this is a video clip that I'd like to share with you.
휴관을 하니까
Art museum closed down, so it's flooded with a silence. What I still vividly remember is on the morning of February 19th. What the heck is going on? As a lot of people in Daegu City were identified as a confirmed COVID-19 cases, the decision was made to shut down from February 20th for about 90 days. It was totally shut down. We are faced with the unprecedented COVID-19 era. I thought that we are living in a war, enduring every day, day by day, living as an artist. What can I do? Well, I think I should become a witness. It was a situation where we were physically distant from other people, but we are still connected with each other. It's like my heart is beating, which means that I'm alive. I think we thought about what do we really need to think about? What do we need to listen about? An artist began to think about what's the well-being, what's the sickness. How are you? Are you sleeping well? I'm going to ask questions like that, whether you are well or not. By asking these questions, I realized that flowers began to blossom and time flew. We found out that the time still flew. I thought it was very important to be able to see any kind of pain or social difficulties, but we can look at it in a different angle. We can look at the pains and hardship in a beautiful way. Wouldn't this story turn into a dreamlike illusion? I thought we could even create a fairy tale or a fantasy. I hope that our wounds caused by COVID-19 can be healed. It makes us feel better. I'm sure that we can have a better life, a new way of life. Separately or together, we can endure our painful days in the world. Right now, right here, is the moment when your gaze meet my gaze here and now, we can form a new communion. New communion. Daegu Art Museum from June 16 to September 13th. All artists were thinking that it was surprising to hear their views, but I guess this is an obvious way of thinking, and by showing the New Communion exhibition, we were able to once again show the world that artists still can form solidarity and we can still continue our artwork. So the New Communion was a new kind of exhibition. So let me just show you what kind of artwork were exhibited. And COVID-19, where did it start? Where? It's related with our planet called Earth. It's related with our ecosystem, and some artists talk about or try to portray the medical sector, try to diagnose the current status, try to portray our future. So they try to pour their thoughts on their artwork. The functions, the role of the art museum once again became the hot topic. However, here, amid such situation ongoing, not only we can express our way of thinking through artwork, but we shouldn't stop there. We can go beyond that. And we began to question ourselves, what can we do more? And as a director of the Daegu Art Museum, I began to meet with the curators or different people working in different sectors. We had a conversation. I mean, the role of the art museum was just a place where we hang the artwork of artists. But when we are faced with unprecedented crisis, then we need to totally transform our methodology of communication. How can we open ourselves? How can we allow people to get access to us? We need to find the solutions to do that. And 2 years have gone by. And let me point out what has actually happened. Daegu Art Museum usually was regarded as very conservative art museum, either sculpture or whether it was just a painting, just one simple way. But as we experience COVID-19, we began to experience different things. Our way of operating art museum totally transformed. First of all, you know that we had a different capacity, but we began to transform ourselves and turn into a digital art museum. Let me show you what kind of changes we actually experienced. First of all, the easiest thing is we create a video and then we broadcast that video clip. What I mean by that is there are contents that art museum can show. It's about artists, or it's about artwork, or it's about art museum. And all of those things were actually actively done by art museum. What you are looking at right now is a YouTube, and this artist, he is still showing his artwork, and his name is Kang Yo-bae, and you are looking at the YouTube channel, and when there's exhibition going on, usually the artist try to show his or her own work at his studio or make a comment, right? And now using digital technology, they recorded their voices trying to explain their work as well. Now you're looking at this. I'll give you an example. Like they have this theme exhibition, or we could even show young artist artwork, and even our homepage were totally transformed. Daegu Art Museum, if you look at here, you can see the toolbar, and we have created a new menu, which is an art museum, digital art museum. So all kinds of contents can also be uploaded in a digital format. I'll give another example. Here, for example, the director make a speech, or curator explain the artwork, or the artist actually talk about his or her own artwork. All of these were uploaded in our homepage. This program, you know what they are talking about? The title is My Own Artwork. This was a very special program, and when the art museum was shut down for 90 days, we tried to broadcast this. We thought about how can we survive? What should we do? And then there are a lot of questions that the general audience might wonder about artists, because there is a certain number of the artwork that can hang on the wall of the art museum, right, during the exhibitions. But if you use the digital methodology or YouTube or a homepage, then the artist can talk about him or herself. It wasn't, of course, easy work, because we need to select the artist, we need to record the video, and we need technicians who can record this image. But in a nutshell, what I can say is that a lot of artists wanted to make and tell their own stories. About 15 minutes to 18 minutes length of a video clip. They, in a very honest and frank manner, talk about his or her thoughts and about themselves, and also show the studio. And then we began to record this video. In some cases, in one of the artists' case, the number of the viewer exceeded more than 2,000. It was amazing. So many people wanted to see that. I mean, it's not a physically limited space, but it's a virtual world, and all the general audience wanted to know more about the audience. And art museum addresses different topics. For example, like not only the artwork done by the artist right now, but also the modern art, or 100 years ago, the artwork, trends, all kinds of things. People began to wonder about that. And we created a video clip and posted that as well, telling the history of the Daegu Art Museum, or art history right after the end of the Korean War. We created all kinds of the video clip. I don't know how to control this. I don't know why. Okay. So you are looking at the title of the video clip that we have created. For the past 2 years, we have created all of these video clips, and we have gathered the data. We found out that compared to the before COVID-19, the number of the audience who visited art museum was roughly around 200,000. But due to the video clip, more than 1 million audience have actually visited our art museum. So number of the audience drastically increased. Now, we didn't stop here because if we do that, this is a unilateral way of meeting our clients, right? Because all kinds of the video clip is just art museum creating a content and then upload it. And just like people sitting at their homes watching TV, it's a one-sided approach. And we didn't want it to take a one-sided approach. We wanted to have more realistic, immersive environment because our environment keeps changing. And we wanted to show more progressive, more future-oriented methodology. So the new attempt that we made is creating a realistic, immersive content, which is much stronger content, and we try to provide that content. Let's take a look at that. This is a virtual world that we have created. And only this year, by the end of this year, we didn't complete it yet. By the end of this year, our art museum has 3 stories, and the third floor, the top floor, we would like to create a space where people can come and enjoy the virtual experience of VR. So if you look at here, this is a place, or you can see an artwork where the people have gathered. So we expect that this number of the audience might come. And the upper part, it's the immersive content. So what we plan to do is the modern famous artists who's come from Daegu City. One of them is artist Lee, and he drew a lot of Daegu City landscape in 1930 to 40. One of that is the apple yard, and we create the environment where there are a lot of apple trees, and in front of apple trees, you know that these people wearing a blue clothes are the artist or artist friends, and using hologram we let them appear, and from the audience perspective we can see that they are talking with the artist. So this is a special content room where they can communicate among themselves. We are working together with the numerous collaborators, and we will complete the test, and I believe that we can complete this project by the end of this year. Why do we do this? Because we believe the art museum, instead of just sitting quietly doing nothing, just showing artwork during the COVID-19 era, we would like to attract audience, and we need to take more aggressive approach because Korea is an IT superpower, and we'd like to connect the IT technology with that of the art, and then doing a various pilot project, we'd like to show the VR world to the audience. What you are looking at right now is the lobby of the third floor, and this is once again a virtual world that we have created with. So parents bringing their children and then experience the immersive contents in this virtual room. So children enter to this room and then experience this VR. This kind of work, we have a special background. There are additional efforts that are hidden. When we developed this program, the curator of the art museum, they try to choose the topic or try to study more about the artist. And based on their studies, we can even come up with more educational programs. So we are making a lot of effort for that. So let's take a closer look at that. They are the pictures of the modern artists. So you enter into this immersive gallery, and virtually you are looking at this artist. This is once again someone coming out and explaining about this work. Can you see the end of this wall? There are a person who is explaining this artwork. So VR is a new methodology that we'll be adopting. This is in the progress. So ongoing project. So if you'd like to listen to the Korean video, you will get the Korean explanation. And the promotions and advertising team of the Daegu Art Museum, they are actively developing this as well. So it's a playground for poetry. And this there is an exhibition called Daegu Forum, where Daegu Art Museum chooses one topic, try to host an exhibitions where artists from home and abroad take part in, and you join virtually, and then people who get access, you can say next page, or you can use your own voice, and then you can enjoy the exhibition virtually. So we are developing this program as well. We have already completed this program, and this has been uploaded at the homepage of our art museum. And even though you don't physically visit the art museum, you can experience this place. So you can see the left and right and the top, ceiling, and also the floor, everything, every corner, you can experience that. So once again, in the virtual world, you can maximize your own experience as if you are visiting the Daegu Art Museum. And also, this is artwork done by Kubei Sangnam. Let's take a look at it. So if you look at, you can select your own map. And if you would like to take a closer look at it, then you click the button and you can enlarge the artwork. And if you want to know more about the artist, then you can click once again, and then you can learn more about the artist, so your experience can be abundant. Now, let's talk about metaverse. We are also trying various things through metaverse. So let's take a look at this video clip. It's a video clip. So can you show the video clip? No? Okay, then I'll just show you the page by page. So this gives you a feeling as if you are playing a game. A student enters the hall and enjoying the artwork. This is 3D, which means that if you use your cursor, you can enlarge the space, and then you can move from one place to another place, from left to right, and you can see various artwork. This is exactly like the exhibition hall, and depending on the movement of the audience, you can have an immersive feeling. However, we are trying many things, but still we are posing questions to ourselves. That question is, what's the existence of the art museum? What about the space? What about the fact that people come to art museum to enjoy the artwork physically? Even though we develop numerous kinds of the tools, instruments, methodologies, people will still visit physically the art museum. Why? Why do they come? And if they come, what kind of experience do they expect to have? We thought about that. And what you are looking at right now, this slide, is right before the season, we have completed, during the summer season, we have completed an exhibition. It's an Lee Gun-hee collection, the former CEO of Samsung Group, which is the representative Korean company who passed away. And Samsung Group chairman Lee Gun-hee had a collection of arts, and he donated his own artwork to different city art museum. And few of his artwork were also donated to Daegu Art Museum. And of course, we are showing the video clip. We upload various kinds of the immersive contents, but still people come physically to our art museum. Why? Why do they come here? We need to ask more philosophical questions, because they'd like to see the original artwork. They'd like to feel the true impressions by watching this artwork physically. So here we need to have a new concept. Look at them. Even though they are wearing masks, they are keeping the social distance. Still, they are holding hands with their spouses or friends, watching and enjoying the artwork. Then here, what kind of service do the art museum provide to the audience? Look at this. You're looking at nun and an elder woman watching the landscape where the dogs are there. Very solemnly, you can see the quarantine measures are applied, but without saying not a single word, they are enjoying the artwork. Daegu Art Museum is now showing the exhibition titled Modern Life. Let me share this. The disaster or the COVID-19 pandemic, this is not the first time that we are experiencing this. We had the First World War, Second World War, and also in Korea, we had suffered the Korean War, a tragic incident or disasters that we have experienced, but still art never died. Art always blossomed. And there were art museums that played their role. And during the pandemic, still, artists or people working at the art museum, they had their own role. Remember, I showed you a video clip. One of the artists said that the pandemic is like a war. Still, even though we are at a wartime, we feel like we are having a war, we still would like to feel the art. Even though our environment become more digitalized ever before, still the questions that we always need to ask ourselves is what is the role of the art museum? And we need to have a serious concern about this. We need to think about the future of the art museum. No matter how much technology develop, the artist who draw beautiful printing or artwork, the originality, the uniqueness, we should not neglect or disregard that. We need to cherish that. And no matter how much technology advances, we need to just look at technology as a supplementary tool that helps us understand the art world. Or shall we provide us a new word? Or how shall we communicate art and how can we develop art further? These are the questions that we need to pose. These are the artwork that are being exhibited Saturday and Sunday. Last Saturday and Sunday, people lined up to look at this artwork. We provide audio guide to them so that they can enjoy the artwork. And also, when they get access to our homepage, they can get access to diverse information. And as we continuously study all of this material, we need to remap our future direction. Our efforts will continue. That ends my presentation. Thank you.
네, 수고하셨습니다.
Thank you, Director, for your presentation. The director of Daegu Art Museum talked about how museum has been changed because of the COVID-19, especially the case of Daegu Smart Art Museum. So we will arrange the setting for a while before we have a panel discussion. So we will talk together with the speakers and panelist members. And please give us some time so that we can arrange the setting. And after that, we will invite the members to the stage. This panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Nicolas Bouchet. So I'd like to invite Mr. Nicolas Bouchet to the stage. He's from Paris and is the founding principal of the Renaissance Urbine. Please refer to the program brochure on your table for more detailed CV. Also, we have panelist members who are joining with us online, one panelist members, and the remaining 3 panelist members will join at this venue physically together. Please let me introduce one after another. Mr. Nicolas Bouchet, please come onto the stage as a moderator. And Mr. Jordi Hernandez is the focal point of the UNESCO Chair City of Film. I'd like to invite him to the stage. Mr. Tamara Kamiski is the focal point of the UNESCO Vice Chair City of Music. So these three people will be on the stage and do the panel discussion together. Also, on the online platform, we have Mayor Sandy Batishur of Australian UNESCO Music City, Adelaide. And actually, due to his personal reason, she's not able to attend this, so we will just put her picture on the screen instead. And Mr. Doug Hartman, the focal point to the cities of the gastronomy, will join us on the online platform. So for the panel discussion, we almost finished the stage arrangement. So I'd like to invite all the panelist members to the stage. So we put all the microphone on the table. Also, please come onto the stage. So please come onto the stage. Mr. Nicholas Butchard, as you're on the stage, the floor is yours. Please check the name tag before the table and sit your designated seat. So professors, and welcome. So now we will have a panel discussion together. So in the metaverse, the panelist members is seated as well in this cyberspace. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I should apologize because my Korean language skills are very limited, but we have been inspired by Professor Won's wonderful presentation earlier in the afternoon. This has raised a lot of questions in my mind, and I'm very happy to be chairing this session this afternoon. I'm more familiar with infrastructure investments, urban development, international negotiations, but I'm also here to say that creative economy and creative people and cultural people have also to get out of the comfort zones of negotiating and talking the one to each other, because at this moment we need creative solutions, right, to meet with the aftermath of the pandemic, especially because while on the one hand we can see digitalization advancing, now with this metaverse, which sometimes looks to me at Second Life, for people who have been there in the past, Second Life was also all about avatar and completely disappeared, and how much we can avoid that this digital transformation becomes a massive digital divide. I think here there is a major issue, and how in that process cultural and creative industries can play a role, not to support and sustain themselves, but also to play a role in the economy as part of one way to provide inclusive, sustainable recovery solutions. So I'm Nicolas Bouchou. I'm the founding principal of Renaissance Urbaine, a strategic advisory company created in Paris 10 years ago. And I'm also the president of a think tank cooperating across the globe and across the G20 on issues such as circular economy and creative economy. And I'm very happy to moderate this discussion. Just a few household rules. We have a very limited time, right? As I understand, we have a little bit less than 30 minutes. We have wonderful speakers, Professor Kwang-Woon Won from Korea Institute of Technology, KAST, Mr. Jordi Hernandez from Terrassa in Catalonia, in Spain, UNESCO City of Film, Tamara Kaminska from Katowice, UNESCO City of Music, and we have the pleasure to also share the floor with Dag Hartman from Östersund, City of Gastronomy. Welcome virtually. And the Mayor of Adelaide also, who was with us, Sandy Verschoor, through her keynote address. So let's be straight to the point. The theme of this afternoon was digital transformation where we are. What are we, to take the words of Professor Won. There would be many questions to raise. So what I would like is that each panelist maybe share very briefly in 2 minutes, 3 minutes max, his vision, his or her vision or experience of this question, digital transformation, where are we? Maybe also showcasing her own experience, but insisting on this question of, are we building an inclusive recovery, or are digital transformation fostering greater digital divides? Maybe we can start with you, Tamara.
With me, okay, thank you. It's a very general question, and you know that. But can you hear me? Maybe it's because of the mask, yeah. So basically what we could observe last month is that thanks to COVID-19 pandemic, however, it sounds very odd that we can say thank you to this pandemic situation, the cultural sector had a chance to change in a way that probably wouldn't be possible within a few years even. So pandemic forced us to use all those digital tools that already were there, but we weren't used to use them. So what we observed, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, is what was a constant act of solidarity of artists and creators who shared their work, who shared their art with us, and thanks to them, our time locked in house was much easier to survive and just to make sure that our mental health will be in a better condition that probably wouldn't be without them. So basically, digital tools, they helped us to go abroad, they helped us to exchange, they helped us also to become maybe more connected in a time in a time of social distancing. So I would say that for artists, for creators, it was the only one way to be connected. On the other hand, we still need some systematic solutions. So what we can observe is that although we have all those tools, we have regulations, we have some thoughts and ideas, we still, like you mentioned, Nicola, we need to leave our comfort zone and sometimes think about more broadly understand solutions for all cultural environment.
We'll get back to that. Dag Hartman, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're more than welcome. So I see it's you. It's not your avatar, right? So it's real you, but in a virtual format. I was fascinated when preparing for the session by the richness of the rural, urban ecosystem that has been fostered in the past years in Östersund, right? And how much this also connects with regional development and tourism and so on.
Yes.
In times of lockdowns and nobody traveling and tourism being at lower tides, how did you manage to keep that ecosystem running? And how has digitalization maybe helped also avoid that small and medium-sized companies which are gathering around this ecosystem or have disappeared?
Yes, first, well, I'm the focal point of Östersund, but I've worked with the region. So one thing is that we work region and city together because that makes sense when it comes to food. And I'm speaking both as a focal point for my city, but also as a former coordinator, I will speak a little for the whole group also, our 36 gastronomy cities. But in my region, like Tamara said, that the culture workers were very much affected. But that comes also to the people working with food, especially restaurants, because both needs an audience to have their income. So they were heavily impacted, mainly the restaurants, and I can also see that many food companies went in my country to delivery service and use the digital platforms. But one thing that happens with food, food went through a mental transition for just being some addition to tourist packages to something that we really need. Because in my city in Sweden, we didn't have so much food shortages, but actually in many of our cities around the world, there were the food value chains were broken, and there were no food to access. So it was really something that happened. But coming back to my region, we are a small city and a big region. We are sparsely populated, and this COVID-19 pandemic helped us to push us out of our comfort zone and start to make new connections and new networks. And one thing I have seen that the market access, for example, producers and consumers have found each other on digital platforms in a much easier and better way. So it's a direct communication to consumers. I see producers, we are famous for our small-scale producers, but they are clustering and working together on digital platforms and different, trying to make some sense out of this. And also food and culture connects, and in new initiative and new activities, and it's just starting. I don't know the end result of this, but in my region, we're also heavily dependent on tourism. And we have worked for a long time with the theme of food, culture, and tourism to connect them together. And I hope the post-COVID can make us make more contact between food and culture, because that has been some problem with us. But I can see with the digitalization as a tool, that might actually help us in the future.
Thank you very much. I would like to take this idea of new networks, new connections that have been built because of the crisis, something that was not expected, but which comes out of solidarity, out of the needs, right, to respond to an unexpected situation, which one artist we heard this afternoon via video said it was like war. Just a quick question, Tamara, before we continue our discussion. Your city, Katowice, will also host in June next year the World Urban Forum. Do you think some lessons learned through the pandemic can also be then highlighted during such big events like the World Urban Forum, and creative economy be convened into the World Urban Forum?
They must be. But first of all, we should stop talking about creative economy in a vacuum. We should also think about culture and its main role. And the main role of culture is building social cohesion. So thinking about economy is one thing, and we of course know that it brings a lot to GDP, and it's generate a lot of workplaces and things like that. But we should also think about culture as a tool to build social cohesion. And what we are talking about after crisis and during the crisis, mostly it was building social cohesion. So I feel that Urban Forum is the best place to discuss that, to exchange thoughts, and also think about global ideas, how to work on that. Because we see two tendencies. Some of the cities, they were highly involved in building solutions, systematic solutions for creators, for artists, to make sure that they will be able to deliver their work to people and make sure that their citizens will be taken care of. And the other cities, they totally forgot about that. They forgot about culture and its role, and they were so focused on just covering all those gaps, which happens because of pandemic crisis. They absolutely forgot about culture and its role. So I guess that World Urban Forum would be the best place to highlight this, to also think about future and to be prepared, because we can be 100% sure that it's not the last crisis in our history.
Okay. It might be interesting to have Daegu also come, right, to this World Urban Forum. And Mr. Jordi Hernandez, Teresa, you have been working over the past years, right, across physical aspects, and already digital aspects linked with the film industry, education, engaging with the amateurs into this industry, so very actively. Maybe a few words also about how you have been coping with this crisis situation, and whether there were new solutions, new networks emerging, or how about cohesion in the city through those initiatives.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to be very fast, because I know that we are running out of time, but to express my gratitude to all the team of Daegu to make this possible, and also to Professor Won for that inspiring conference of before. And about your question, Nicolas, I would like to focus on something that maybe sometimes we don't take a lot of care, or we don't consider a lot, is on the production stage. So we've seen a lot of changes, and very hard changes in the production in the film industry. It's been a sort of perfect storm. The film theaters are getting empty. There's a streaming war. The streaming wars, you know, the platforms, Netflix, HBO, and so on. And also there's a very important technology, which is the virtual production. This technology is changing completely the production system. And it means an opportunity, but also a menace. Opportunity because it's an open window to new jobs, new companies, new projects. It's a menace for the filmmaking industry, because this new change comes from the video game industry, which is much more powerful than the film one. But also it can be a menace because it means a gap among those cities that have the right environment to support this production, and those cities that don't have that environment. And this environment is not just having the final technology, is having the jobs, the skilled people, and as creative cities, and it's what we are trying to do in Terrassa, we have this challenge. We need to put together the video game creators and developers with the filmmaking creators and developers, that they not always speak the same language. And as a creative city, we can be a good connector for this. And well, it's mainly what we are working right now, and I invite you, if you have time, to check on the internet, and you'll see, for example, big productions like The Mandalorian, and you'll see how they use the new technology, that's the LID technology, combine it with the video game engines like Unity. And it's extremely powerful, because you can do whatever you want. You don't need huge stages, and it means a huge change of the industry in this very now.
Thank you. That's also very short, but very insightful and very powerful about the changing conditions of production. So we are not just talking like in general about phenomena, but also about sector by sector transformations, disruptions that are accelerated also by 2 years of COVID crisis and a very intense competition about recovery. Mayor Sandy Verschoor, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So good afternoon. During your recorded presentation, you mentioned, among other issues, the question of well-being and the measurement of well-being, right, in Adelaide, and how this is sort of being a constitutive part of your cultural and creative approach. We heard the mayor of Daegu this morning, our colleague and the co-chair of UNESCO Music, Rainer Kern, from Germany, Heidelberg and Mannheim. We have a colleague here from Poland, from Spain, from Sweden. How do you manage to, I would say, in this complicated recovery context, manage both the local aspects of social cohesion, etc., while also continuing to build forward-thinking networking and exchanges in the region and at a more global perspective?
Well, we've spent a lot of time creating a wellbeing dashboard, and one of the things that we were able to do is really investigate wellbeing and the arts. So people participating in arts and culture and what that meant for them as a community. So we've done a lot of measures. We've worked with the SAMRI, which is the South Australian Medical Research Institute, which is set up here and has a wellbeing research facility there. So we've done a lot of measures, and in fact over this period of time where of course we're all dealing with pandemic and in our communities but also in our business sector that has been really impacted, we have put a lot of work in place in terms of be well plans. So we've rolled out a whole lot of programs through the community to help them with resilience. We've associated those programs with the cultural offering that's in the city, but we've actually just started working with our business chamber to make sure that we can also offer some of those wellbeing programs out across our business sector. And that's really all about resilience and people reframing in terms of being optimistic about their future and making sure that they are looking after themselves and their immediate community. It's been really interesting to look at the dashboard and how some very, very small things can assist with a person's resilience and how they interact with their community and their staff as well.
That's indeed also very interesting. The issue of well-being, the well-being economy, culture and creative industries being part of this well-being economy that also has been supported very much by the OECD, right? In the past couple of years has emerged. It was not so much there on the discussions of the G20 Leaders Summit. I read the communique during the night in preparation, but somehow the good news is that for the first time in the G20 Leaders Communique, there is a recognition of the issue of culture and creative industries and professionals in this dimension. Tamara, you have a quick comment on that?
The only one comment is that we are speaking about that since 2006 when Philip Kern published his first report, so it seems to be the highest time to be mentioned during G20.
Point noted. I happen to be a fellow of a foundation in Germany that has issued a recoupling dashboard, recoupling social progress and growth. We have just issued recently this book, but it's a multi-year research which include Korean partners about intersecting, that is really connecting multiple dimensions from science, policy making, etc. So this is time of great invention. Before we move on to you, Professor Won, a quick comment maybe also from you, Dad Hartman, and if anybody wants to elaborate on that. There is something I have not heard so much since this morning, is about how all these efforts, it was maybe mentioned by our friend from UNESCO, but not very much indeed, about how much everything we are talking about can contribute to reinforce the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda, which has somehow disappeared a little bit from some radars because there were other urgencies. But while we are talking about recovery, we cannot forget about that. In the context of the City of Gastronomies, you mentioned you were a coordinator, Doug, and also at a regional perspective, how about this link between culture, creative economy, and the SDGs now?
Well, in our group, if I talk as the former coordinator, in our group, we work with our activity plan. We have over 100 projects that we are very clearly linked to the Sustainable Development Goals and the UN 2030 Agenda. And we still do that. In all our joint projects, we are very, very careful to link them all to the Sustainable Development Goals. So in our group, and how the agenda is very much highlighted. And if I come to my regional perspective or the Swedish perspective, the 2030 agenda is really high up on everybody's agendas now, and everything we do actually is aligned to the agenda. And of course, no one really knows exactly how to do this. But for example, in my region, we work a lot with climate change, and we are aiming to be a fossil-free region in 2030, which is very soon. So we have it high up in the agenda region and Sweden, and also we working very hard on the gastronomy group to make this very clear.
Thank you very much. And actually, what I wanted also to bring to the table is that for next year, the G20 will be chaired by Indonesia. And in the past months, with the preparation of the G20 Indonesia and different groups, we have been pushing very strongly for this agenda. We are talking about innovation, culture, creative economy to be under the radar, right, of next year. There will be a series of hearings with the different organizations starting next week with the preliminary report that should be issued in January. And what I wanted to say is that obviously everything that is being discussed today, we will make sure to bring it also to the table. That is not just the issues, but also the people, the ideas, the concepts, and the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. So I just wanted also to bring it to the table as a concrete also testimony. Professor Won, I was fascinated, and I think I was not the only one in the room. You browsed a very wide portrait of a number of system changes and systemic transformations, reminding us also that part of what we are discussing about and has been achieved has roots in the, of course, in the long past, in the Enlightenment, etc., but also in the 90s. You mentioned this Nagoya conference. In the beginning of the millennium, you were invited to, at that moment, showcase something that was not familiar in Korea. This is this culture industries. So it takes time, right, to achieve significant transformation in the economy, right? Of course, there are disruptions, but it takes time. My question would be, right now, it seems it's all about urgency and responding and creating recovery solutions on the spot, like in 2 days or in 3 weeks or in 3 months. Yet, about this question of time frame, how much would you say what we are discussing about will still be on the table in 10 years from now? Or if I may say in another way, how can we have converging efforts happening so that system changes for the better can come out of this present crisis? What would be necessary in terms of policy leverage in that regard?
Well, Nicholas, thank you for asking this interesting question. But unfortunately, I mean, I don't have the good question and the right answer to your questions. Someone said the following: technology essentially is the representation of human desire. So that means as long as we can identify the problem, as long as we can identify the issue, then we can use technology, or you can develop technology to answer that problem. So it's just a matter of time. Okay. So really the question is what we are really want. Okay? As long as the the age of in the age of new normal, how much the art and culture would be they change it according to the change of our life. It took the human race 30,000 years to reach this particular art form, the music and performing art and the visual art and so on. So the question is that are we still want to preserve the tradition of the art form as much as we used to enjoy it for over the 30,000 years. Okay. So, well, well, for the technology person like me, as long as you can give me the picture of the next generation, the art form, then the technology should be able to answer. Okay, that is my just 5 cents. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We have really only a couple of minutes left to stick to the time, but I've got Professor Won, a last question from you, and then maybe each and every one of the panelists can quickly comment on that. My question, you mentioned in your presentation also these, I would say, national strategy Korean waves, right, in connecting different domains, and with results that can be seen now, right, in different, like music, K-pop, and et cetera. Would you say that Korea can have a specific leadership in the cross-cutting approaches between digital technology and arts in the Asian region or in a global perspective?
I guess as far as the art and culture is concerned, don't count on the politicians. I mean, we should be able to find out how we can. I shouldn't say manipulate, but how to influence the politicians in a way that we want to make the art and culture flourish. So it's not just but still, I mean, we should be able to to show them, the politician, the desirable the policy and the direction that we should go.
Thank you very much. So we have heard about networks, connections, cohesion, culture, system change, industry, conditions of production, organization of ecosystems. So a lot of very important issues. We can guess that it is about livelihoods, it's about jobs, it's about placemaking. Every time we are talking about that, right? And it happens globally, right? So maybe starting with our friends and colleagues who are far from here, but together, Dag Hartman, Sandy Verschoor, something you would like to specifically highlight in terms of takeaways, points not to be missed when there will be some conclusions of these 2 days of intensive reflections on the digital forum. Maybe Dag and then Sandy, very briefly.
Yes, I can very quickly. South Korea, of course, is very advanced in the digital world and also in the gaming industry, but so is Sweden also. So music and the gaming the sectors in Sweden is very advanced. I hope we can find some ways to cooperate. But my point is that I can see in the younger generations now that they work in a totally different way than my generation do, and they are connecting globally in this digital world, and that gives me really hope. And actually, I have my own son is in the gaming industry, and he's making sounds and music to computer games all over the world, and he sees no borders whatsoever. And that is very interesting when this generation comes up to when they are in decisive positions. I'm very much looking forward to that. I think that will boost the digital transformation very much. Thank you.
So generations and digital transformations, noted. Sandy?
Well, I was just smiling because Dag, my son, also works in gaming and animation. And he's just been working on a new festival, which is an immersive experience in 360 degrees sort of digital technology. And I absolutely support what you said in terms of they all think globally. They are working with people overseas every day, sharing their ideas, sharing the technology, sharing what their software can do. And so it is, these connections are second nature to them, whereas I feel that our generation worked very hard to make those connections. To them, it's just what they do on a daily basis. And I think part of what we need to do to continue to invest and through policy decisions is to also make sure that we continue to collect the data and the research to support what we've already known in terms of how we connect that to jobs, wellbeing, resilience, placemaking, all of those things. The more research we can have and the more data will inform various governments at different levels to continue to invest.
Thank you very much. And those are also all important aspects. There is an initiative currently with the Indonesia Creative Cities Network that comes to my mind, and the Good City Foundation's about a boot camp accelerator for mayors' offices, right? To train the key people into those aspects of new generation approaches, right, to transformations and changes. And with the fourth industrial revolution, and it's nothing easy. Tamara, a comment on that? I'm sure you have many.
I will try to be as brief as possible. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Professor Won, because this idea that first define the problem and then look for solutions, that's something that we all should keep in mind. We tend to first act and then define the problem. But basically what I wanted to say is that although technology is changing, we live in a time of changes. I would still want us to keep in mind that culture is the thing that makes the difference between existing and living.
Thank you, Tamara. Sorry, Jordi?
Well, to go very briefly, I just wanted to talk about a thing that worries me, that it's the point of we know that the young people is using the technology, is on the virtual worlds, but they also have very real problems, even mental problems, job problems, and so on. So I think we should do a good task helping them in those virtual worlds too. Anyway, it's the next step, so we'll find in the metaverse all that we have now in the reality.
Yes, that's a good point, because sometimes it seems that this Second Life or metaverse, they are completely virgin, right, of any of our human daily basic problems, inequities, competition, opportunities, etc. And it's also nice and without problems, always terrible monsters, as we have seen, right, in this performance, which was really terrifying. And in some ways, and maybe Professor Won, that would be, if you would like to give a final closing remark to our discussion, is how much do you see part of the imbalances and problems in sustainability and getting access to new technologies, etc., will also prevail if those parallel universes are being developed, right? How much this will help solve of the issues we have been talking about, especially in investing in recovery, or how much this will be completely different and a complete approach to system change, I would say, in all domains, in all directions. How would you see, with all your experience and background and working with politicians, the future of such a parallel universe?
Nicholas, you just asked me a very important question, but the question that have no, just a good answer. But well, I'm, I just mentioned that, it took the human race, the 30,000 years to reach this type of the art form of today. But going back, the 35,000 years, there was a cave, right? So if have you been to the Altamira cave or the Lascaux cave? Well, it's so fascinating. So inside of it, okay, it's a part of the real world and the part the artificial world, and combined the real world and the artificial world, that actually creates kind of metaverse. So the future, I mean, I don't know it, but one kind of the world would be such cave type, the metaverse, which is very much like the cave paintings. So it could be some kind of a total art that you can, that you can immerse yourself. And so I mean that kind of that I would not say that is the only the desirable art form, but that could be a fantastic the new type of the art form that we should be able to enjoy ourselves. Well,
So this meeting place of the arts and science that sparks culture, right, and gives culture a new sense or a reinforced meaning, is maybe something that emerges, right, from all the different bits and pieces and fragments of discussion, including our panel this afternoon, which comes to an end. Thank you very much, Professor Won. Thank you very much, Jordi Enenzens from Terrassa, Tamara Kaminska from Katowice in Poland, UNESCO City of Music, Jordi with UNESCO City of Film. Dag Hartman, thank you very much for joining with the UNESCO City of Gastronomy, and Mayor Sandy Verschoor from Adelaide with the UNESCO City of Music. We have covered different culture and art forms, and it was a pleasure to moderate this discussion. I hope we are bringing useful things back home and also sharing useful insights with our colleagues here in Daegu. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
네, 대단히 고맙습니다.
Thank you so much for your enthusiastic discussion. So we talked multiple aspects of culture and arts with audiences both on and offline. Thank you so much for your kind participation. So this concludes the first part of the panel discussion, and we will have a short break. So if you have any question regarding the session, we will have a general Q&A session in part 2 so that you can ask a question. We will have 30-minute break, so take a 30-minute break. And if you go outside the lobby, HMD Experience Zone is there at the lobby. So if you go outside at the lobby, you will be able to get some glasses-like device. And please click on the button on the right side, start button, then you can enjoy the virtual experience at the lobby. So during the break, maybe you can spend some time experiencing this virtual device. So we will start at 4 o'clock. Okay, we'll start at 4 o'clock precisely and resume the session with part 2. Thank you.